The Empire ignored one veteran's warning, until their brightest battalion begged not to go to Earth. The Hall of Concord glittered with crystalline pillars that refracted every sound into a soft chime. Light fell from floating shards of amber, casting long fractured patterns across the polished obsidian floor. The chamber was beautiful, serene, meticulously designed so that nothing felt threatening. That was the point. Empires didn't fear anything. They conquered it. Or so they believed. General DeRose entered the chamber with a gait that didn't match his decorated armor. His left leg dragged slightly, metal scraping faintly with each step. His metals clinked in a subdued echo. His face, a lattice of healed burns, remained expressionless, until he saw who occupied the council dais. The high strategos, adorned in shimmering silver regalia, leaned forward with polite disdain. General DeRose, you requested emergency audience. Your record grants you that privilege. DeRose didn't bow. He never did. This is about Earth. Ripples of amusement traveled across the semicircle of advisors and war ministers. Someone snorted. Another muttered. Again? DeRose heard them, but didn't break. He had outlived 17 planetary campaigns, 2 genocidal uprisings, and an orbital implosion that took half a fleet with it. He had nothing left to prove, except this. They intend to launch the invasion at dawn cycle, he said. I'm telling you now, you're sending them to slaughter. The strategos raised a brow. The humans? The bipeds who couldn't unify their own continents? Primitive, emotional, clinging to their outdated rituals? His voice softened with practiced authority. General, your injuries have cost you perspective. DeRose inhaled. Every memory of what he'd seen tightened behind his ribs like a fist. Perspective is exactly what I'm offering. Earth doesn't fight the way we think. They don't lose the way we expect. They don't break where others do. One of the younger counselors clicked his mandibles. Your report claims 10 units vanished on approach to Earth's outer defense ring. Vanished. Without debris. Without thermal traces. Correct. That's impossible. DeRose looked him dead in the eye. So is what you're about to order. The chamber dimmed slightly as the ceiling's amber shards rotated. The strategos steepled his hands. General, your last campaign was costly. Trauma lingers. This obsession with Earth. Obsession? DeRose barked, voice cracking through the hall like a split hull. I watched an entire detachment of elite incinerators return without a single facial plate intact. Their armor, carved. Some were whispering names of soldiers we haven't had on the roster in decades. Names of the dead. Silence puddled beneath the council seats. DeRose continued, softer but not weaker. Humans don't fight for territory. Or honor. Or empire. They fight because something was taken from them. Once that happens, they don't come at you. They wait. They stalk. They outlast. And when they strike, it's not with force. He breathed hard. It's with memory. The strategos waved a dismissive hand. Poetic. Not strategic. Strategic? DeRose leaned forward. Humans survive environments we classify as unlivable. They withstand stress that shatters most species' minds. They weaponize grief, rage, silence. They adapt between heartbeats. A deep chime reverberated through the hall. A hologram materialized in the center of the chamber. An urgent encrypted transmission marked Admiral Priority. The strategos frowned. Play it. Static flickered, then dissolved into the face of Admiral Karth Vaylor, commander of the Empire's most decorated battalion, the Radiant Vox. His pupils were dilated, breast sharp, armor scratched with patterns no Imperial forge would design. Behind him, lights flickered erratically. Command! His voice trembled. Admiral Vaylor. Trembling. We request immediate extraction. Repeat, immediate extraction. Earth is not. He stopped, head snapping to the side as if hearing something off-screen. They're not where they should be. They're not anywhere. They're everywhere. The strategos stiffened. Admiral, elaborate. Vaylor swallowed hard. We sat down in what looked like an empty transit hub, glass towers, solar grids, quiet streets. No civilians. No troops. Nothing. He inhaled sharply. We thought they evacuated. We were wrong. The Rose felt his stomach twist. Valor continued, voice cracking. Every piece of equipment we brought started replaying things. Voices. Visuals. Faces of our own soldiers. Faces of people we lost on other planets. His pupils contracted painfully. They made us see our own dead walking behind us. Muffled screams echoed faintly behind him. Valor jerked his head around. Hold positions! Hold positions! His voice hitched. Council, whatever you believe about these humans, it is wrong. The hologram cut to static. A second transmission instantly queued itself. This time, it was a single member of the Radiant Vox, helmet half removed, gasping for breath. Young. Brilliant. Terrified. He whispered, Please, don't send anyone else here. The feed collapsed. The hall froze. The Rose felt his pulse pounding in his throat. Your brightest battalion just begged not to go to Earth. That's what I've been trying to tell you. A counselor whispered. This can't be fabricated. The Radiant Vox does not beg. The Strategos' composure faltered, but only slightly. Perhaps this battalion encountered an isolated anomaly. A psychological weapon. Something unconventional. They encountered humans, the Rose said. That's the weapon. The chamber erupted. Whispers, denial, frantic rationalizing. Someone proposed mental interference tech. Someone else suggested a viral infiltration. No one dared suggest the truth. The Rose closed his eyes. When I served on Rygos 3, we fought a species that used hallucinations to unsettle us. I know the difference between manufactured illusions and something older. He opened his eyes again. Humans don't need technology to create terror. They've had millennia to perfect it. The Strategos inhaled through clenched teeth. General, if what you say is true, then Earth is not merely a planet, it is a threat. No, the Rose murmured. It's a graveyard waiting for its next name. The overhead shards rotated again. Light shifted. The chamber darkened. A new alarm chimed. Incoming fleet telemetry. Theras's chest tightened. The Radiant Vox Battalion, every single ship, had gone dark. No distress beacons. No thermal signatures. Just silence. The Strategos whispered. How long before the invasion fleet reaches orbit? 6 hours? An aide answered, voice thin. The Strategos turned back to the Rose. General, what do we do? The Rose exhaled slowly, painfully. You stop pretending Earth is a conquest. You treat it like a wounded animal cornered in the wreckage of its own history. And if we don't? The Rose didn't blink. Then you join the Radiant Vox. The hall fell silent, heavier than before. A distant tremor rolled up through the floor, energy fields recalibrating, fleet engines powering for descent. The Rose felt the vibration like a warning pulse. He knew what came next. Humans never attacked first. They simply waited for invaders to step into a place that remembered its scars. And Earth remembered everything. The Rose felt the tremor deepen, humming along the crystalline pillars until the entire chamber vibrated like a living instrument struck by an unseen hand. No one moved. Even the Strategos, armored in centuries of certainty, looked suddenly small. A whisper rippled from the far end of the hall as a young technician hurried forward, clutching a trembling datapad. General. Strategos, we've just received residual imaging from the Radiant Vox landing zone. Theras's throat tightened. Show it. A projection burst to life in the air. Not fog, not jungle, not shadows, something worse. The Radiant Vox had landed in a vast megastructure of smooth white corridors, a place that resembled a medical facility fused with an abandoned transportation hub. Escalators frozen mid-step. Holographic signs flickering with outdated welcome messages. Rows of empty chairs lined against glass walls overlooking silent magnetic rails. But the silence wasn't normal. It was surgical. In the footage, not a single object was out of place. As if the entire area had been abandoned in one collective breath. The Rose felt his scars burn. This is how humans lure you. They make the quiet look harmless. The Strategos stared at the projection. What happened next? The next frame flickered, and every counselor leaned back as one. The empty chairs were now facing the camera. All of them. Neatly aligned. Perfectly symmetrical. Like an audience waiting for a performance to begin. What? A counselor whispered, voice cracking. The Rose didn't answer. The projection jumped again. This time, the corridor walls, smooth, spotless, pristine, were streaked with black markings. Not blood. Not paint. Not alien glyphs. Perfect, human handwriting. The words, "We remember." And beneath it, "So will you." A tremor of dread rippled through the hall. The Rose closed his eyes, jaw locked. You see? Humans don't just fight you. They talk to you. They let you know they're awake. They let you know they're watching. The Strategos stared in disbelief. Why would they leave messages? Because fear burns slower than fire. And longer. Before the council could process the footage, another alarm echoed, a piercing harmonic tone that vibrated every crystal shard in the chamber. Long-range fleet transmission. Someone shouted. Patch it in. The hologram flared to life, grainy, unstable, drenched in static. A lone soldier from the radiant Vox stared into the lens with trembling eyes. His armor was intact, but his expression was broken. They're not soldiers, he whispered. The Rose leaned in. Who? Humans? The soldier shook violently. No, not soldiers, something else. Something older. They don't wear insignias. They don't shout orders. They just appear. What happened to your battalion? A counselor demanded. The soldier blinked rapidly, as if his mind couldn't keep up with his words. We landed inside a station that looked abandoned. But nothing was abandoned. Everything was arranged. Positioned. As if someone wanted us to move through it in a specific order. His breathing turned jagged. Every door we opened led to a place none of us had mapped. Holograms replayed our own voices, my voice, screaming for retreat even though I wasn't screaming. Then the lights cut. And he froze. And what? The Strategos pressed. They started naming us. The Rose felt ice crawl across his spine. Humans? No, the soldier whispered. The building. The walls. The floors. The air. Every surface had our names etched into it. Names of soldiers who hadn't spoken them aloud. Names written in our own languages. The hologram distorted as the soldier leaned closer. I don't know how they knew who we were. He swallowed, a sound raw with terror. But they knew. Static consumed the feed. The chamber fell silent. The Strategos finally turned toward the Rose, voice trembling. General, how do we stop this? You don't, the Rose said quietly. You respect it. That's not an answer. It's the only answer that keeps your fleets intact. But Earth is not a battlefield, the Rose said. It's a memory archive. And humans don't let invaders leave without taking something from them. The overhead shards dimmed again as another tremor shook the hall, but this time it wasn't internal systems. It was something external, something vast. An aide gasped. Sir! The human planet has launched atmospheric disruptors. The Rose frowned. Weaponized storms? No. Electromagnetic bursts. But they're controlled. Directed. They're forming patterns. Patterns? The Strategos echoed. Theros's stomach dropped. They're drawing warnings in orbit. The projection expanded over the chamber's ceiling, showing the Empire's invasion fleet lined in formation above Earth. Surrounding the ships, the planet's upper atmosphere glowed with shifting geometric symbols, vast arcs of manipulated auroras forming words in a language the Council didn't need translated. The words across the sky burned. We do not forget. The Strategos staggered back. They're communicating through the ionosphere? They're warning you, Rose said. This is your last chance. The technician shouted new telemetry updates. Multiple ships experiencing navigation interference. 2 carriers drifting out of formation. Admiral's flagship losing altitude. The strategos whirled on Rose. Are the humans attacking? No, Rose said. They're preparing us. For what? Rose met his eyes. For themselves. A final transmission appeared, unmarked, unencrypted, unfiltered. A human voice spoke through the chamber as if standing beside them. Calm. Steady. Certain. You were warned. The chamber lights flickered violently. The atmosphere fractals in orbit brightened, twisting into spirals of controlled chaos. Then a single word formed, a command. Leave. A counselor whispered. If we retreat now, we admit weakness. If you stay, Rose said, you admit you want to die. The strategos stared at the hologram, at the symbols Earth painted across its own sky, at the battalion that begged for evacuation, at the veteran who had warned them. He exhaled. Ordered the fleet to withdraw. A collective gasp erupted. S straight. Do it! He thundered. 8 officers scrambled. Commands raced through subspace channels. Ships trembled as engines reignited. But Earth reacted first. Not with weapons. With silence. Every Imperial ship's sound channels filled with a single overpowering noise. Heartbeats. Human heartbeats. Dozens. Hundreds. Thousands. A rhythmic chorus that grew louder and louder until every officer felt it vibrating inside their bones. Then a voice whispered, Take your fear with you. The transmission severed. Every fleet engine roared. Every Imperial ship fled. The Hall of Concord shuddered as the fleet burst away from orbit, retreating faster than any Imperial force had retreated in recorded history. Rose watched the sky feed until the last ship vanished. The strategos stood motionless. General, what do we tell the Empire? Rose breathed slowly, steadily. Tell them we found a world that remembers its wounds. And the humans? Rose turned toward the exit, metal legs scraping softly against the obsidian floor. Tell them the humans never wanted war. He paused at the threshold, scarred face half-shadowed. They just wanted us to understand why they survived it. He left the chamber without waiting for a reply. And behind him, the crystalline pillars continued to tremble, long after every engine had gone silent.